First of all, Coach, can you just kind of talk about, take me through all of the things that you've done in terms of coaching? All I know is girls basketball coach, but I'm assuming there was a lot more.
When I first got here, I wasn't doing any coaching, and they came to me about a week before school and said we need an assistant volleyball. So for the first 2 years I was here, I was assistant volleyball with no experience there whatsoever.
What years was that?
99, 2000, 2001, I think, right in that range somewhere. Shelby Albertson and Abby Cox were sophomores that year, I know. So, and then the senior class, that first group was Jennifer Spurlock and Raina Whipple and that group. So it's been a while ago. Mm-hmm. So, and then I've done some junior high football. I still do some track, had girls basketball, had junior high girls basketball. And lots of ancillary stuff for the other sports.
Tell me about how you got into teaching and coaching. When did that cross your mind that was something you might want to do? And then your schooling, where you went, and kind of how the Sidney job came about.
Well, the whole teaching thing came about. I was a marketing major at the University of Northern Iowa, and I was about 3.5 years in, and I was not happy with what I was doing. I was falling asleep in my classes, and I was trying to figure out what can I do that's going to catch my interest. And I'm the oldest of 7 kids, and I kind of realized then what I don't have in my life anymore was my younger brothers and sisters. So kids was the difference there. So I went into teaching then and changed my major, and it just kind of fit from there. I went and coached and taught and coached for 3 years up in Wisconsin. My uncle helped me get a job up there, and had 2 years of varsity basketball up there of boys. And then I wanted to get back a little bit closer to home. My parents live over in Bedford now, and I didn't want to be on top of them, but I wanted to be close enough to where I could get back to see them whenever I wanted to. So
makes sense. Where are you originally from?
A little town called Farnhamville. It was a town. The school was Cedar Valley. It's then moved into Prairie Valley, and now Prairie Valley has moved into Southeast something.
When I was at KWMT in Fort Dodge, some of the towns we would just say, and just this is what the weather's going to be, and Farnhamville was one of them. So that one popped into my head a little bit. Yeah. Tell me about your growing up and you mentioned 7, one of the oldest of 7 kids. That had to be wild.
Yeah, I got 2 younger brothers and 4 younger sisters. I grew up on a farm. I was limited to just a couple sports. I played basketball. I played football for a couple years, but then I ended up helping out my dad on the farm quite a bit. Track was out of it because that was spring and we needed to work in the fields and stuff. And summer was out because I was helping him on the farm. But I did football and basketball and basketball all 4 years, and that was always my first love.
Your brothers and sisters, any of those, are they teaching or anything?
I got a brother, Mark, that teaches up in South Omaha. He lives in Bellevue, and none of my other brothers and sisters teach or anything, but they're all but one are within the state of Iowa. So,
great. Tell me about basketball was such a love of yours. Can you tell me why that was, or what it was about that got you interested? And was it just because you're good at it, or?
No, because I was never a starter. I was the 6th man. I had to work hard for everything I got, and so I appreciated all the kids that worked their behinds off and didn't necessarily get all the glory. And so when I got into that, I'm a competitor, and no matter what I do, whether it's basketball or board games with my girls, I want to win. And it's just that competitive spirit and just basketball kind of fit hand in hand.
Don't want to we're talking about family. I don't want to get away from that. I want to talk about, you mentioned your girls. Tell me about, did you meet your wife here, or what exactly, how did that all come about?
When I'd been here about a year, and I went to play golf for some benefit for something, and I got paired up with my wife, and that's where I met her, is on the golf course. And she at the time had a 2-year-old, and my 2-year-old is now a junior in high school. And then we got married a year later and had 2 more young. So I got a junior, and I got a 5th grader, and I got a kindergartner.
Kenzie Holstein is the junior. And can you tell me about watching her? She's a great cross country runner, basketball, but does all of the sports. What was her childhood like? Obviously you being a coach, she was kind of around that.
Yeah, she liked being around it, but she was always there for everything. When she was little, and she always wanted to be involved, and she was practicing and shooting varsity basketball drills when she was in second or third grade. So she just was always in the gym, and that kind of led to her love of the game. And then she's played some club ball along the way, and she just we like to give her opportunities. She's ran at some big things in Minneapolis and some different stuff with. Can't even think what it's called, AAU type stuff, and with Mackenzie Daffer and with Lexi Larson and Shay Sears, and just being in those bigger situations kind of works out well when you get into Southwest Iowa. She's kind of been in bigger situations, and the pressure doesn't get to her as much.
Top of the mind with Sidney athletics, even still now, a couple months later, a month later, whatever it is, volleyball, going to the state championship. You've seen those girls play a lot of volleyball, I assume, and the growth that they've made from freshman year until Lexi Larson's freshman year until now. What can you even put that into words? How improved they've been, and then you add those freshmen too.
Well, it was really fun watching them, because I've watched so many different groups of girls come through here in the last 15 years from Southwest Iowa and just never make it through, never quite get to that next step. And it was pretty emotional when they made that final step over there the night in Clarinda, and that was the only night I was truly nervous was to get in the state. Once we were there, I was excited every night, but I was never truly nervous up there because it was all gravy after that. Exactly.
You mentioned some teams that came pretty close, and you were the coach of some of those girls basketball teams. So much success, and I'd say maybe that corner conference during your stretch as the coach, girls basketball wise, maybe it was deeper than we've seen there's just so many great teams and great players out there. Essex, Stanton had some just revolutionary type players. Sidney, of course, did too. So can you just kind of explain and talk about that dynamic of just every night it seemed like there was a marquee matchup in the league?
Yeah, well, Essex was just rock solid, and with the Windstrand girls and the Coleman girls and many others that I'm probably forgetting, and then you add Stanton and the Suberts, and just they always had many players, and Valiska had a couple of good teams. It was just you had to bring your A game every night, and we had a good group of solid girls that came through then, but we didn't have a cakewalk any night, it seemed like.
Yeah. Is there a game that you kind of remember? You got to remember the hair tie game.
Yeah. That was a game that I really felt that one play changed the outcome of the game, and I would never say that about any other game. But we were up 6 when that happened, and the next time we got the ball, we were tied, and it went the other way really quick.
Was that the game that also they held the ball the entire third quarter? Because that was just a crazy game, and it just kind of was that a regional semifinal?
Yeah. Yes, it was a regional semifinal because the winner went to Bedford the next game, and they held the ball the whole third quarter because Jocelyn Coleman had 4 fouls. And we had a 2 or a 4 point lead, or maybe 6 points, I can't remember, but they were trying to keep her in and win at the end. And we got down to the last couple minutes with a 6 point lead, and one of the refs noticed a bobby pin in the girl's hair, and come to find out after the game there was no quote unquote bobby pin rule. That was kind of it just happened, and the next year it came out in black and white that bobby pins were legal. Oh. The very next year, so.
Wow. That's so not the hair tie game, the bobby pin game. One of the girls on that team was Amy Osborne, and she's the one that recommended you, one of them that recommended you for this, and I remember her from, I think, freshman year on. I saw her play. It just the improvement she turned into a tall girl playing basketball to a basketball player. Can you speak to that a little bit and how that came about?
Well, we knew that she had some potential when she was pretty young, but she was a lot of knees and elbows and when she was younger. But she worked hard. She played on a team out of Des Moines for a couple summers, and then we went back and forth up for there. She played out in Portland. She played in Chicago. Played in a team out of the Express for a year. A lot of people spent a lot of time with her, and she was willing to put in the work and the time and the effort. But she wasn't the only one on that team. Mandy Eulenkamp, Maggie Johnson, Lindsay Holt. There was just a plethora of girls that they weren't the stars, but you got to have all of them in order to make a good team. Audra Blackburn. There was just it was a good group of girls.
Definitely. Staying on the Amy Osborne subject, you mentioned going to Chicago and Portland, and I think her mother had some health issues at the time, and she had said, you actually took her to Chicago. Did you and your wife take her to Chicago?
We did because I was coaching on that team as well. So it worked out good that she could ride along because she wouldn't have had an option to get there. But I was helping coach on that team, and it just kind of fit.
She says, and as a educator, as a coach, and she said she wouldn't be where she is if it wasn't for you and your family. I mean, what does that mean to you?
It means a lot because she's really treated my daughters well. My wife's kind of taken her under her wing when her mom passed on, and that was that in itself was an incredible story because the night that we played in the regional semifinal up at Elkhorn, she was incredibly sick as a senior, or Amy was, and almost throwing up on the floor half a dozen times. And then we had a couple other girls that didn't go because they were sick, and Mandy Eulenkamp hurt her knee that night, and we lost that game, and that's a game we probably should have won. But the following Monday, we would have been in playing Martinsdale, St. Mary's, and that night, and we would have been in Atlantic or somewhere else, and that's the night her mom passed away, so she wouldn't have been there to say goodbye to her mom. So God works in mysterious ways.
Yeah, definitely. You had so many teams getting so close. You had a regional final team, I think, lost to Mount Air, the team that they lost on a last-second shot by. Well, it wasn't by Hallie Christopherson, but she had the assist.
Over and backward.
right. And, a lot of people, and I get into this too, just to focus so much on, teams that got to state, got over the hump. None of your teams ever did, but I don't think it really took away from them. Do you?
No. The game that we played at Mount Air that night, we had a 15-point lead in the second half, and Amy picked up her fourth foul right at the end of the third quarter, and when she came out, their fans just exploded. And she comes over and she's like, "Why are they cheering against me?" It's like, that's not cheering against you. That's just a sign of respect, Amy. They know how good a player you were. She had 20 points in the first half that night. So that team overachieved in my eyes because we had Amy in the middle, and we had a whole bunch of players that just played to the top of their ability level. And I wish we would have got to state? Absolutely, because that would have been so much fun. But it was all great memories. It's all great memories.
Nonetheless, I want to talk about one of the great games that you played. Bedford. You played Bedford, and this was a really good. I mean, it was a young like the Kayla Lindenmeyer, maybe sophomore year for her. Her class was maybe sophomore year or something like that. Regional quarterfinal, and you were down. Well, just explain it.
Well, we were basically even or down most of the game, and they scored, and we got the ball with 1.7 seconds and needed to go the length of the floor. And if you're a Bedford fan, you will swear to this day that the clock started late. And if you're a Sidney fan, you'll say we executed well. I had Maggie Johnson, and she could throw the ball with a baseball press pretty well. So I had her throw directly to Osborne at half court, and then the play was set up for her to turn and throw to the wing to Eulenkamp, and for Eulenkamp to take that shot, and hopefully we get it at a time. And they executed it to a T. Amy took an extra dribble in there, which I don't know quite how there was time for that, but it worked out. And Eulenkamp hit probably a 25 or 6 footer, and nothing but the bottom of the net, and that was a pretty exciting night.
Is that on YouTube, or you have that video somewhere?
I don't. I probably have the video at home. I've got most of the videos from the last 17, 18 years. So.
Yeah. Beating a Bedford team like, I just thought of Fremont Mills. They were in the young stages of their little development too during that corner conference. But I guess, can you tell me about the huddle before that? And then, how are you as a coach? Are you calm in a situation like that?
I'd like to think I'm calm, but I know I don't get rattled, but I know I talk fast. And sometimes I have to repeat things a couple times because I get talking too fast. But that particular night, they went out and did exactly what I drew up. I mean, and that doesn't always happen. And a lot of times something happens and things don't go that way. But that particular night, they executed what I drew up, and I couldn't have been prouder of the way that turned out.
What year did you stop coaching girls basketball?
When Mackenzie became a freshman. So this is my 3rd year out of it.
Was that why? You just didn't think you could do that?
Well, the main reason I got out is because it's hard when you're the dad of the, and I'm kind of a hard whatever you want to say on my daughter. I mean, I'm tough on her, and it was easier for me to get out and let her have her moment in the sun. And I knew that she was going to be decent. I thought she would probably start right off the bat as a freshman, and I needed people to see that she was starting right off the bat as a freshman because she'd earned it, not because her dad was giving it to her.
Is there ever a chance you will return to a head coaching job in maybe not just basketball, but basketball would be what my main, because you have a lot of girls, as you said.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll be honest with you right now. Last year, I coached the 3rd and 4th grade girls, which my daughter was a 4th grader, and it was probably not the most fun, but one of the most fun experiences I've had as a coach. I had 6, 7 girls that just worked their tail end off for me, and they learned and they got better. Coaching them in 5th and 6th grade this year, and I'm really enjoying that. Could I go back someday? Absolutely. I wouldn't say no that I'll never go back, but I'm okay with where things are at right now. So.
And are you? I mean, Sidney is. I mean, I don't know. Are they? I mean, they're doing all right. It sounds like to me in terms of enrollment and stuff like that. But so you're a Sidney lifer?
I think so. I enjoy it around here. It's a great place for my family to be. Everybody's been really pretty good to me since I came to town. They're good to my girls. My family's got a lot of good friends, and my girls do here. And I just kind of feel at home here. So.
Coach Dave Dowling, thanks a lot.
I appreciate it. Thanks for all you do for us.